Older men, what advice do you have for young guys? Story 1. You're only young for a period of your life. You are actually older for most of your life, so make sure your decisions take that into consideration. Reply 1. I'm in my 30s and I swear I'm still 26. Make sure you experience things to make as many memories as you can. Other than experiences, invest as much as possible and thank yourself later. Compounding interest is the 8th wonder of the world. Reply 2. Okay, but this is what I'm struggling with at the moment. I can't experience things and invest at the same time. Both cost money, so do I take that holiday, go to that festival, go on a nice date with that potential future partner? Or do I slog through 2 jobs and save and invest everything? Either way, I'm going to regret something. Reply 3. Try things out until you find what you like enough to make that thing your splurge. Always balanced otherwise. Don't buy stupid crap. And no need to impress others. Basic things are always okay. Main thing is to say yes to experiences unless you know it's a bad idea. You'll only regret laziness, avoidance, and/or ignorance. Financially, start with understanding the basic investing principles and commit an AI prompt or a quick search will tell you everything. Don't wait for that. Then, define any long-term goals you might have, job/house/partner/kids, etc. And prioritize what you think you value most. You can realign things as you go along, too. Reply 4. It's important to actually live your life. I have plenty of regrets with how I managed my money when I was younger, and maybe some financial opportunities that I missed along the way. But I absolutely do not regret the experiences that I've had, and the memories I made along the way. Sure, I could have bought a house sooner if I hadn't gone backpacking in SE Asia, or if I hadn't taken that extended road trip down the West Coast hitting as many national parks as possible. But would I really have been happier if I hadn't? What it really comes down to is moderation. If you can, try to still enrich your life with experiences, but don't stretch yourself thin doing it. Do it a bit less extensively, frequently, or more cheaply, so you still have something left over to save. Of course, it's much harder if you're barely hanging on, but try to find whatever balance you can, especially if you are living relatively comfortably. Also remember that experiences don't have to be all-out expensive. If you travel, find the cheapest flights and stay in hostels. Go on dates, but the right people don't need to be impressed by expensive fancy dinners. Live frugally where you can, and treat yourself when possible. Story 2. You're not indestructible. All the little injuries you pile up in your 20s and 30s will haunt you later. Reply 1. At 24, I jumped off a 2-story house to entertain people at a party. At 40, I feel like someone has taken a sledgehammer to my back. I'm not a detective, but I think these two things are connected. Reply 2. Once you pull your lower back or neck just once in your early 20s, it gets easier to re-trigger it as the years go on. I'm 42 now, and that innocuously jerked neck when I was around 20 is currently preventing me from looking over my shoulder when driving. It's not the occasional pain that's bad. It's the occasional unpredictable loss of mobility that's the problem. Reply 3. I'm 28. A year and a half ago, I sprained my wrist and partially tore my scapholunate ligament. Doctor told me it takes 5 years to heal for some people. Daily pain that comes and goes, but is quite uncomfortable when it's present. Wrist in general just feels a little loose at all times. I also have a sprained ankle that never really healed. Injury is 9 months old. That is the same way. Unfortunately, I've gotten used to the pain and just do basic PT strengthening them on my own a few days a week. Won't necessarily help the injuries I have, but it will help with any potential re-injuries. At this point, I'm just grateful they're not worse injuries because I know there are plenty of people out there who are in way worse condition that make do with what they have and stay positive. Reply 4. I'm 64, played college football, rugby, and everything else. I've been in construction since I was 22. I have broken at least 18 bones and torn both knees. I still climb mountains and spend 30 days or more a year outdoors. I feel great. Quit smoking, drinking, and drugs, both prescribed and recreational. No fast food and a good balanced diet. And exercise, strength, and cardio. Like my doctor says, junk in, junk out. Keep it clean and all will be fine. Story 3. Know when to say, I don't know, and I can't handle this, let's get a professional. You'll save yourself a lot of time, money, and the color of your hair instead of being bullheaded and trying to do everything yourself. Reply 1. Counterpoint. If it doesn't cause major damage, be it physical, mental, or financial, then biting off more than you can chew can be a somewhat fun type 2 experience. For example, I got a bunch of cuts and bruises learning to change my brake rotors and pads, took ages, swore a lot, but in the end learned a new skill and saved money. Fixing a transmission though? Nah, dog. I'm happy to get the professionals to do that. Reply 2. And don't mess with garage door springs or electricity unless you know what you're doing. Reply 3. The garage door springs are a fear most people don't know about. They don't even realize how fortunate they are to not know about that. Friends work for a local door manufacturer. People die yearly with PPE and safety devices from those bastards. Reply 4. Once my dad planned to replace the garage door springs himself. We were pretty broke at the time, and he is great with tools. Fortunately, he is not great with instruction manuals. By some stroke of luck, a friend called him to catch up right before he started working on the garage, and my dad told him what he was doing. His friend proceeded to relay the utmost caution, the right steps, and how to avoid the horror stories. There are certain moments you remember forever. Shout out my dad's friend. Reply 5. Oh, it's a fear I learned about the scary way. Sounded like a shotgun went off in my garage in the middle of the night when that bastard snapped. Added that to my list of, I'm not freaking with that home projects. That list is electricity, major plumbing, and now garage door springs. Reply 6. Learning the difference between I don't know and I can learn this is invaluable, especially if you start young. A lot of projects are doable, considering all the resources online. The hard, expensive part might be assembling the tools and the cost of early mistakes. Reply 7. The difference between I can learn this on my own and I don't know enough to get this right the first time is also an invaluable skill. I train a lot of young guys and they don't tend to ask enough questions. They assume they know enough to get by even if they aren't sure about it. In lab work, which is my job, that doesn't fly. I cherish the people who come in willing to ask a clarifying question when they aren't completely sure. I don't need to micromanage them as much because I know they have good judgment on their skills. And 9/10. It's not the 18-22-year-old guy who's asking those questions. Story 4. Be kind. It's its own reward. Reply 1. I've never been a rude person, but when I was younger, I was definitely more detached from those around me. These days, I make much more of a conscious effort to be nice to people, making small talk, cracking silly little jokes, offering compliments. It's no hardship for me, but it immediately puts you on a good footing in your personal and professional life. Because when you make people feel a little bit better, they feel a bit better about you, too. Reply 2. Every small kindness is a boomerang that comes back eventually. That's not some power of positivity or the secret crap. Being kind to people makes them like you more. And when you need help, and you will, we all do, it's better to be surrounded by people who like you. Are people going to ignore or abuse that kindness? For freaking sure. But trying to be discriminated against is a game of diminishing returns that hurts you more in the end. Be good to everyone, even the assholes, except for fascists. Reply 3. One of the most important life lessons I've taught myself while growing older is that being generous is being in control. This is really talking to the caveman part of my brain, but when I was younger, I always felt that the underdog mentality instantly kicked in if I, for example, bought someone a couple of beers at a bar, which is quite expensive here in Norway, mind say, and they never returned the favor. I felt like I was taken advantage of, like I was losing face, and it felt really unfair. Now I've finally come to realize that being the person that gives without expecting anything in return is actually a way to be powerful, dominant, or whatever you want to call it in caveman terms. You're not the underdog being taken advantage of, you're the exact opposite. But it's important to point out that this is just something you quietly think to yourself. The moment you actually start to point it out to people, you're just an a-hole. Reply 4. Very true. I had a call today from a random student who contacted me for help with a formatted SD card. Not my department. I could have said no. However, I'm going through a rough period ATM and said to myself that this would be something good to do amid the turmoil. Spent 1 hour with the kid to try and recover the data to no avail, and another hour on my own trying other things, but I could tell on his face that he appreciated the kindness and just someone to vent his frustration on his own mistake. Be kind. Reply 5. Saw a commercial when I was like 8 or somewhere around there that said, smiling is contagious, you never know if someone is having a bad day, and you smiling at them could make them smile, bringing them out of their bad mood, even if at least for a second. Or something along those lines. Obviously, I don't remember exactly, but I know that was the sentiment. After seeing that, I noticed it was true. When people in public or at school or wherever really would smile at me, it would make me smile. That commercial has stuck with me my entire life, and I still smile at every person I make eye contact with. Story 5. Work out. Reply 1. This is the best blanket advice in here. I didn't start working out until I was 32. I was 50 pounds overweight and felt like crap. Working out and making it a part of your daily routine has such a massive domino effect over your entire life, physically, mentally, routine, work ethic, and literally everything. This should be mandatory for everyone to start at a young age and develop good habits. This coupled with proper eating cooking habits are paramount. Reply 2. This will also decrease healthcare and insurance expenses if everyone was more mindful of what they do and what they eat. The actual effects of our energy sources that fuel our body is not well appreciated. Fast food companies shouldn't be as powerful as they are. I'm ranting now, but I can't practice as a physical therapist without reporting every little thing for insurance to decide if I get paid, but fast foods get to sell cancer and obesity and get ultra wealthy. Not a good healthcare system designed for the people. Reply 3. I worked out religiously from the time I was 13 to around 32 or 33 years old. Then I had kids and thought I didn't have time. Fast forward 10 years and I felt like absolute garbage after Christmas. Been back at it since January and I'm still very disciplined. 2 weeks into it, I told my wife that all my aches and pains have gone away because of my working out. I can get out of bed and not feel awful from age. Now I just feel sore from working out, which is something I truly welcome. So I wholeheartedly agree with this. Work out, make the time. It is always worth it. Reply 4. This is gospel. I'm turning 40 in September and only just now making exercise a non-negotiable part of my life. I'm at least 20 pounds overweight, and as far as aesthetics go, I'm lucky to be tall so that I wear my weight well, but I'm definitely afraid that I waited too late to get in shape, so now it will be like trying to drain the tide with a bucket. I'm probably just panicking, and I know it's never too late to start. But still, story 6. Don't let people treat you poorly. Not your girlfriend, not your buddy, not your family. Reply 1. Absolutely. It's a skill to carry yourself in a way where you are respected. People learn quickly who they can talk down to and who not to mess with. If you speak up for yourself, people are more likely to keep their opinions to themselves. Reply 2. This. I don't care how perfect she is or how cool she is or everything you have in common. It's never worth being treated poorly. You'll find another. I did. Hell, I found another several times. There are kind and beautiful people out there. Seek them out and you'll know happiness you never thought possible. Reply 3. And for everyone, no is a complete sentence. You don't feel comfortable doing/saying no, I will think about and get back to you. Job, we are family. No, we are not. Unless there's ways around it. Set boundaries. You need your own time. Can you woof the clock? No. Can you stay after? Up to you. I have a think at work, but it's your day off. Maybe up to you if they don't reciprocate. Always no. Reply 4. You win, buddy. I thought I had a good screen name, but you have outmiked me. And I agree with your statement as well. I'll add, always maintain your temperamental shape and composure. Be your best self at all times. This is what some call not showing your ass. Reply 5. Your addition is something all men need to know. I know that's the point, but still, showing aggression and losing your temper, no matter how thought out and correct your arguments are, as soon as you lose your temper, you have lost. This is especially true when it comes to a significant other, because that anger then becomes the focus of the argument, and you will always lose. Staying calm, rational, and composed when seething internally is true strength. My girlfriend once told me that I'm terrifying when I'm calm externally and angry internally. Story 7. There are literally millions of women. Why obsess over that one? Reply 1. I'm convinced this is the real reason The Great Gatsby is taught in high school. It's also a masterpiece, etc., but Jesus, young males need to realize attraction isn't love and there's nothing you can do to make something like that mutual. Reply 2. For sure, that first love feels like your whole life, and it is at this point. But there's a lot more life and love coming. Don't get hung up on the first one because relationships get a lot better as you age and learn what you want and don't want from a partner. Reply 3. Our brain chemicals control us. When you start really liking a particular girl, everyone else seems inferior in comparison. It's not something you can control, even if it seems easy to control when you're not presently experiencing it. I've gone through phases where I was crushing on someone and it seemed impossible to ever like anyone else, like she was the perfect person. But then I move on and think I was silly for ever being in that headspace. I don't think you can talk people out of obsessing over someone. It just takes time. Reply 4. Also, there are lots of great women who are single. I know one who makes $250K, is literally a scientist, is the sweetest person I've ever met, and looks like a model. Okay, maybe an actress, she's only 5, I'm 4. When she told me, guys can be kind of intimidated by me, I guess. I thought, you're goddamn right, I'm intimidated as hell just trying to be friends with, oh no, you'll meet someone. Go for the pretty lady. It would be such a tragedy for this woman to die alone because men think she won't go for him. Story 8. Wear rubber. Reply 1. To add to this vasectomy, if you are like me and finished having kids in your 20s, I'm 30, Getting a vasectomy will bring spontaneity back to your love life. It's not that painful, nothing to be afraid of. Also, no more worries about having more kids. Also, do not get a vasectomy and think you're golden without doing the follow-up test. It might be uncomfortable to hand someone a cup of sterilized baby batter, but it's better than your wife saying she's late and you going, "What the F?" Story 9. By far, it has to be learning the value of time. So many people in this world don't grasp this until it's far too late in life. Don't waste your time doing things you hate or being around bad people. Reply 1. I badly need to remember and enact this advice. I've worked a few jobs that were okay, a few I didn't care for, and then there's my current job. I can't sleep at night because of it. It stresses me into the stratosphere, and I'm missing time with my family and young children. I just don't know where to turn or what industry my skills will translate to. I feel horribly stuck. Reply 2. On the matter of time, stand up for yourself when people are wasting your time. Whether that be a job that keeps calling you on your days off because they don't want to do the work, or a mechanic who screws up repairing your car, or even a friend who by the time gets ready, it's already too late. When I started speaking up or doing what I wanted to do without waiting for my friends, I found myself not getting bitter and frustrated. It's important to be patient, but it's just as important to know when that's being abused. Reply 3. I'm so glad I learned this at 24. It was like some grand enlightenment where my mind told me that no matter what I do in life or how successful, I am still going to die just like everyone else. Heck, I'm already half the age my dad was when he passed. I just got to stop playing all these video games for long periods of time. Reply 4. Absolutely. I worked 100 hours a week and made bank doing it. We had all the motorcycles, sports cars, toys, and vacations you could want. Gave it all up to work my own small gig part-time, clearing about 30% of what I used to make. Still decently low 6 figures. But we have 1 motorcycle each, and only 2 cars to share now for the whole family. We live where we don't need to vacation from, and enjoy family time much more. I'm much happier with my time spent with those I love, rather than with things I bought. Reply 5. I found this later in life at 38, when I had my first child. Spending time with him and being present is my biggest goal. Free time consists of maybe an hour a night, so if it's a show I'm watching, it better be engaging. If it's a podcast, I should be learning or laughing. I try to reduce the amount of doom scrolling. Found this while laying on his floor waiting for him to fall asleep. If I have to work a weekend, how do I get that time back with him and my wife? This is the time I value, and my free time has got to be second best. Story 10. Start saving for retirement. I know you've all heard it, but I can't stress how much more money you earn from the savings during your 20s. This is not a drill. Start saving money you don't touch till retirement. Up here in Canada, you are allowed to borrow against it for your first house down payment at low interest as well. Reply 1. Definitely. Compounding interest is very powerful, and it's at its most powerful over a long period of time. So, start young. The S&P 500 averages a 10% yearly return. At that rate, if you can invest $500 per month, then in 30 years you'll have over $1 million. Reply 2. I grew up during the Cold War and pretty much thought, why bother? We're only going to nuke each other to bits. Turns out over the past 36 years of my working life, I was wrong. Most of the money I earned, I just pissed it up the wall. Had a good time though. I even worked for a bank for 5 years when I left school at 16. You'd have thought I would have known better. So, yeah, put some money away. Even if just $50 a month, it'll stack up over time. Wish I'd done it. Reply 3. A lot of young people today are repeating this same mistake by telling themselves that climate change or AI mean none of this will matter anyway. Reply 4. Honestly, a lot of people also have lost faith in the whole process, associating finances with debt and with banking. They grew up in a time where their parents' 401k tanked. Their parents have to sell a house and downsize. Their jobs aren't offering matches, or the match is like 1% after you put up 5%. Stack on top of that, most people are working jobs they only stay at for 1-2 years. Then you add on top of that the ridiculous cost of housing. Some people are choosing to try to save for a home, pay off debt. With this feeling of absolute distrust in the finance system, it sucks that they are missing out on time in the market. Social Security is looking like it's going to be plenty screwed over before we have a chance to touch it. Home ownership and establishing a 401k really provide a boost towards net wealth. It's just increasingly being pushed out of the reach of so many people. Reply 5. Agreed. I've been saving a minimum of 10% of my net income since I was pushing shopping carts at 14 years old. And after I lost my last engineering position at 50, I looked at my portfolio and it was worth over $2 million. So, since I couldn't find another mechanical engineering job, I bought into a fabrication shop so I could keep working and making money without liquidating my savings too early. Save your damn money and invest it wisely and as safely as possible, and then forget about it. I was honestly shocked at how much I was worth. Hell, I'm still driving my 2015 Kia Soul 6-speed and buying my jeans at Walmart. But I own 2 new CNC lathes, 2 new vertical mills, a vertical turret lathe, and a 5-axis mill for larger finished assemblies. Crushing it. Best wishes. Story 11. You're not that funny when you put other people down. You are more of a man when you lift people up. Reply 1. This 100%. I teach middle school students, and I'm always trying to teach this. Also how it shows way more strength to admit you're wrong and apologize than lie and never own up to things. Reply 2. It's fine if you're punching up. If you're making fun of someone who's an entitled asshole, that's okay. Don't punch down. Don't make fun of people who are trying to do the right thing and are just stupid or whatever. The only people who laugh at that are assholes, and you shouldn't strive to make assholes laugh. Story 12. Admit when you make a mistake and learn from it. And don't try to hide them either. I've avoided so much conflict in my adult life by being able to go to someone and say, I need you to know I made a mistake and I'm going to correct it. Or else, I messed up and I need help. Trying to blame someone else when it was genuinely your fault always causes more problems. And mistakes you try to hide almost always get found out eventually. Reply 1. I've seen people literally ruin their own lives refusing to admit they treated someone badly. Accountability, recognizing what you did, was wrong. Why it was wrong, and what steps you're going to take to prevent it happening again is how we grow. People stay in the mindset of their youth forever by not taking this seriously. And it's so easy to do. Hey, Miss Sir, I shouldn't have treated you that way. It can go really far. Reply 2. It's much easier and better for you to just admit you were wrong if you were in the wrong. Also admit how you made people feel. Even if unintentional, you don't get to decide how people respond to you. In the same vein, you don't really get to decide if you are intelligent, thoughtful, considerate, brash, loud, asshole-ish, alpha, an ally, etc. Embrace your emotions. Learn to feel them. Literally, sit in an emotion and sense around your body what it feels like. Usually something like 90 seconds later, you will feel much better for honoring that feeling. Also, you will gradually gain more insight into how you're feeling in general, which eventually gets to mature masculinity like, I know today is an off day, I just need to get to bedtime, and I'll feel better tomorrow. Rather than making what amounts to your pissy mood everyone else's problem. Also, as you get older, you'll be responsible for more and more. Even if something is not your fault, it can certainly be your problem. Think leaking pipes in your basement or whatever, a death in the family. Story 13. You're not smarter than everyone else, shut up and listen. Reply 1. Hell, even if you are smarter than most, shut up and listen is good advice. I've been told by a fair few people that I'm smart, but most of my knowledge comes from shutting the hell up and listening to teachers, to friends, to that random guy on the bus. Everyone's got a story to tell, and most of those stories teach you something. Reply to a neighbor once told me when I was 17, don't ever go somewhere and start talking like you're the best at something, because there is always someone about who is better than you. Obviously, this doesn't always apply when you're learning something or training somewhere for something. I think he meant more, don't run your mouth off for no reason. Story 14. No one is coming to save you. Do it yourself. Reply 1. This is great advice and something I personally needed to learn. Paid huge dividends. Don't be a victim and blame others mentality. Many of my friends who never learned this are still struggling. Reply 2. A more optimistic take on this is to emphasize the importance of building and/or actively participating in your community, whatever that means to you. The capitalistic and patriarchal culture that's prevalent in the U.S. tells us that we're on our own, but that doesn't need to be true, and hasn't been true across cultures across time. Story 15. Don't burn bridges with people and try your best to maintain friendships. Reply 1. Overrated advice. Cut out the fat and go for quality relationships. Keeping assholes around because they may be of help down the road is not worth putting up with and makes the whole thing feel transactional. Reply 2. I'd also add that you don't need to maintain every friendship. Sometimes they fizzle and that's okay. Appreciate the time you got to spend with them at that moment. Maybe they're a different person now and likely things will never be the way they were. Don't let it haunt you, just appreciate the time for what it was. The same applies to exes. Reply 3. Alternate advice. Choose your friends carefully. I did not, and in the span of 3 years, I've had 4 of them ghost me out of nowhere. Inexplicable. One friend we had just returned from a week staying at my family's summer home and had an absolute blast getting baked and looking at shooting stars, walking 7 miles to a reservoir, flying a drone, and even on the drive home, my friend said his buddy in college wanted him to shoot a music video, but he was nervous about editing it. I shot and edited and said, "Send me the footage. I'll help you out." We were also collaborating on a science fiction film of mine. That drive was the last time I've heard from this friend. Oh, and we live 50 feet from each other and have been friends for 15 years. So his ghosting is so illogical. I see him and his parents all the time. Now he just avoids me, literally closes his eyes when he walks past me. It hurts my heart and makes me feel absolutely disposable to the people I consider family. Maybe I'm the problem, it sure seems so. But I don't know what people don't tell me. Thankfully, being alone all the time doesn't mean you feel lonely all the time. Story 16. You probably could lift that furniture or appliance alone, but is it really worth it? Reply 1. Now that I am in my 30s as well as my friends, paying for movers is much more preferable than buying a pizza beer for the boys to help move furniture all day and be crippled for the rest of the week. Seriously, you can get away with moving a dorm room's worth of stuff since it's just packing up a car, or even an efficiency or a studio apartment's worth, and offering pizza and beer and renting a U-Haul. Once you hit a one-bedroom apartment, you're pretty much hitting the limit though. When you hit 30 and or a two-bedroom apartment, or God help me, a house, you hire movers. Seriously. Expensive as hell, but worth it. Reply 3. 41. Almost 42 now. At 38, I was in the best shape of my life. I was in such good shape, I forgot about my back injury from years early and moved furniture into a new home with a buddy of mine, thinking that the bookcase was 200 pounds. But it would be fine. It was not fine. I forgot about odd angles to get it through a doorway, and I slipped a disc in the process. I tried to rest it off, and 2+ months later, my girlfriend yelled at me to take care of it, rightfully so, because I looked like a banana when standing up straight. I've now gained weight from not working out all this time. Story 17. Be 100% about your intentions honestly with women, regardless of how you think it'll affect them emotionally. Honesty and integrity are paramount, and you can't control how someone feels. Reply 1. To dovetail off this a little, also, be willing to let someone go if that integrity makes you incompatible. If they can't live with your Bionicle collection and you can't live without it, you can live without them, and they can live without you. You can get priorities straight, sure, but don't become someone you're not to keep someone who doesn't want to be with the real you. Reply 2. Absolutely. The right person will love you for your Bionicle collection. I sure love my husband for all his weirdness. It's what makes him right for me. Yes, he likes to build plane models from scratch. Yes, I love it. Does it mean we have random plane blueprints wherever? Certainly. But that fits perfectly with my weirdness. He's the kind of man who would give me a planisphere for my birthday, and I'm the kind of woman who would be excited about it. Story 18. Getting a girlfriend will not make you happy. You'll still be sad, but with the added responsibility of making someone else happy. Reply 1. For real, whenever that feeling of desperation and despair and catastrophic thoughts start to hit, ask yourself, do you actually want a girlfriend? Or is the girlfriend a distraction from what bothers you? Maybe you need friends, a more fulfilling job, a better physique, feeling helpful, needed, reliable, independent, etc. You don't need to be perfect to go out there and date, but you need to like yourself first before others like you, and the best way to do that is becoming the guy you want to be. Reply 2, if you think you need a partner, you're not ready for a relationship. If you try to have one, it's not going to be healthy. You're in the relationship for the sake of being in a relationship. You're in love with the idea of love, not the other person. You need to be satisfied and happy with yourself. Then you can have a nice, happy relationship with someone you love. Reply 3. That is why I have no intention of getting into a relationship right now, and that has been going on for a while. I do understand I'm the issue in this case, and while I've seen it works, I've observed it can lead to some quirks in people doing that very long term, but is not like rushing into someone just for the sake of not being alone. Not like that is something I ever subscribed to. To me, feelings go first, then relationships, not the other way around. The absolute worst example of something similar to all this is when a couple unhappy with each other decide to have a kid, sometimes one-sidedly, to fix things. Oh boy, that ends up badly most of the time. Story 19. Get over it. Seriously, learn to get the F over it. Whatever it is, you're in your 30s now. Grow up and move on. Some prick cut you off in traffic, skip the road rage, get over it, move on with your life. Meal was subpar? Fine. It happens. Get over it. Rough breakup? Tough crap, get over it, move on with your life. I can't believe the number of people around me 30 plus who just can't let crap go. The past is the past. Learn from it and move forwards. Mistakes happen. We aren't perfect. The world will keep turning. Get over it.